Before we get on to the agenda, you will note there is no fire drill or terrorist alarm planned today. Just a few other points. I hope all members will remember to switch off their mobile phones, or at least put them on silent. There's nothing more distracting when you're getting up making a speech and suddenly you get a ringtone right behind you, whatever the ringtone may be. Just a few points. I know you've all been trained, but if you wish to speak, press the long button on the console in front of you, and at full council, you stand when you speak. People who have been here a long time at times have even forgotten that themselves, so there's no harm in reminding you. Those who were here will remember what happened last year with the outgoing chairman. Just looking around the chamber, it is very different to what it was a month ago. As I said then, I'm the only one who's guaranteed to be here, but it'll only be for a few minutes. There are some returning councillors, there are some new councillors, and there are some boomerang councillors. Some of you are looking perplexed. A boomerang councillor is somebody who is a person who has been off either voluntarily or by the electorate's wish and has returned. And there are several of them, some of them 4 years, and some of them actually a 16-year sabbatical in between terms on this council. I hope you all enjoy yourselves, and remember, this won't affect me. This council belongs to the chairman. You do what he says. If he stands up, you sit down. There's no harm in that just being reinforced. So without further ado, we will turn to agenda item 1. Can I have proposals for the post of chairman for the 2017-18 municipal year? Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chairman. It's my great pleasure to propose Councillor Andrew Higgs, the outgoing Vice Chairman of the Council, to become the new Chairman of this Council for the first year of the 4-year period. Andrew, I suppose you could say, exudes quiet. He's very quiet, but he exudes quiet authority. And I'm very convinced and very sure that he will do the job very conscientiously. Although he is quiet, he does have this air of authority about him, and I know he does engender respect. I've never heard anybody who's actually fallen out with him. He's a very pleasant individual, and I know he'll do an excellent job. He's served the Sleaford area for some years very well now, and I look very much forward to him working with us all to lead us through this next period. Thank you, Chairman.
I'm delighted to second the nomination. I know Andrew Higgs well. He's had 2 honours this month, the first of which was to inherit a lot of my old division, which undoubtedly will make his life much easier being chairman of the authority.
Do I have any other nominations? No? Right. Councillor Higgs, are you prepared to accept the nomination?
I am. Thank you, Chairman.
Right. I think you have to sign the acceptance of office first. It is easier to do that without the chain on because it usually flips up at the back. Typical, drop a clanger at the... I'll warn you, Andrew, This is not easy to get on straight.
Hesitant bits, I'm afraid. May I take this opportunity to thank my proposer and seconder, along with all members who have supported me as Chairman of the County Council. Could I also thank you, Martin, for your help during my term of office as Vice Chairman. I thank you for including me in your term of office. I'm looking forward very much to my civic year, ably supported by my wife Lucille, and hope to visit as many people and organisations within Lincolnshire that I am able to do. I wish to be called Chairman during formal meetings, and I hope that you will respect this request. I shall wear this chain of office with pride and fulfil my civic duties as Chairman of Lincolnshire County Council with enthusiasm and dedication, and will represent our county to the best of my ability. Lucille and I are looking forward to the year ahead, and again I thank you for your support here today. I hope for your continued friendship in the future. Martin, it now gives me great pleasure to present you with your past Chairman's badge, and I know that you will wear it with pride as it is well deserved.
You'll probably do a better job than I did.
I'm now going to ask our outgoing Chairman for...
Anybody to speak?
Oh, sorry, I do beg everybody's pardon. I invite members of the Council, if they wish to stand up and say a few words for the outgoing Chairman. To start.
Again, will it? I mean, Martin, obviously, we're not saying just goodbye as Chairman, we're saying goodbye as a member of this Council. I think we all know that Martin is a character with a capital C. And you know, once you get used to Martin, you do know that his heart has always been in the right place. I think we will miss him very much, and I think he will miss us. And although he has his eccentricities, his heart, he actually does have often sound advice to give. He was Chief Whip here for many years, and I know that over the years I've had lots of common sense advice for him. So he will still be in touch, of course, because Rosemary, his partner, is going to carry on as a councillor here, having just been elected. So there is still the family connection. He is from a long-standing Lincolnshire family, so I wish him very well in the future. He lives in a lovely village in South Lincolnshire, and I'm sure that he will, A, have an enjoyable time there, but also an even more enjoyable time chuckling as we struggle with all the problems that we always have to. So thank you very much, Martin, for being chairman and for your service over 20 years.
Thank you, Chairman. As somebody who was very kindly given the opportunity to take the whip's post after Trolley, I have to thank him enormously for the time and help he's given me in this job. It is not an easy job. His kindness, his patience, his knowledge of the Constitution is second to none. And he is a very, very hard act to follow. I value you enormously, and I thank you very much for all you've done for me, and I wish you all the best. And just to let you know, when I was appointed, he bought me this pen, and I still have it. So thank you.
Angela Newton to say a few words.
Well, I'm delighted to thank Martin for the help he's given me since I came back to Lincolnshire County Council. I think 4 years ago he took it on himself, as I'm sure all councillors would at that time, to welcome the new incomers, and I'm sure you'll be doing the same. But it was very reassuring to be met by Martin to tell us the ins and outs, and whilst we thought we knew it all, we clearly didn't. But he's become quite a good friend over the years, and I shall miss you, but I'm pleased Rosemary's got on to carry forward the work in Barham. Thank you, Chairman.
Brewis to say a few words.
It will be very few, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would echo every word that Angela has said, and also wish every good success in his partial retirement from the position of being councillor to my fellow son of the Wyvern, my fellow originally Somerset citizen. Thank you.
Robert Parker, Councillor Parker.
I'd like to join in with other people who've already spoken. Speaking on behalf of the Labour Group, I'd like to be able to speak on behalf of more members of the Labour Group, but that's not possible. The election meant that it was the time that Trolley decided to stand down, and I think that we would all want to join in to say that you played an important role over the last year as chair of this council, chairman of this council. It's easy to slip into normal language, but as chairman of this council, I think you have been a positive influence on behaviour, and I think that generally speaking you've run the council meetings in a way that I think everybody has felt inclusive, and I think your work outside of the council chamber has been exemplary, and we'll miss you from our side. Thank you.
Councillor Marianne Overton.
And I'd also like to have more members, but here we are. My group meetings are ever so quick these days. I'd also like to say a thank you to Councillor Trollope-Bellew, who has... Mr. Right, from a few minutes ago, Mr. Trollope-Bellew, who has served this council well as chairman. And I think it has been important because there were times when I really wasn't sure how it was going to be. And I do appreciate that you have done an excellent job. So thank you very much.
Councillor David Brailsford.
Thank you, Chairman, and congratulations. I'd like to... Years ago, I first was elected onto Stamford Town Council, and at that time, the gentleman stood in the corner and gave his presentation, and I didn't know who on earth he was. I found out later it was Trolley. It was known to everyone. And I think in those last 14 years, you can count on the fingers of one hand the number of town council meetings in Stamford is missed. I also know that he attended dozens and dozens of parish council meetings, and it will be sadly missed, but very, very fondly remembered. And I'd like to thank you, Trolley, for the work that you've done. Thank you.
We only have one more, oh no, just been added to it. Councillor Rosemary Woolley.
Thank you, Chairman, and congratulations. I did wonder whether I should speak or not, but I felt I was duty-bound to, really, to thank Martin, obviously, for the wonderful year that we've had, going around the whole of Lincolnshire. It's somewhere I wouldn't have got to if I obviously hadn't been the chairman's lady. I was extremely privileged to be able to do that and to wear the chain, and also to thank him for not standing again, because obviously if he had, then I wouldn't have been able to have fought an election and to be here today. And also, I'm looking forward to the fact that roles are now going to reverse, and that he will now be at home doing everything, making sure that my tea's on the table, and watch this space if it happens. But anyway, congratulations to you, Chairman, and to your lady, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and to thank Martin for a very interesting year, and I'm sure more to come. Thank you.
Right, we'd like to move on. Would you like to say one final word?
What, I'm limited to one word? First off, I would like to thank Rosemary for the support, not only during this year, but I think in this stretch, I think it's 12 years, and in all that makes about 37. She seemed to sort of reappear between each marriage. Quite true. A few years ago, we went down to see somebody about buying a horse, and he knew us both, and he said, "How long have you two been together?" One of us said 27 years, the other one said 9 months, and we were both right. Andrew, thank you and Lucille for the help you have been during the past year. Charging around the county, it is always helpful and useful to have somebody who can cover when there is at least two engagements. I know I'm double-barreled, but I haven't quite developed it that far. Rachel Wallace, oh, she's hiding round the corner. Rachel, I know you think you've had a hard year, but I think it's actually been fun, and I think sort of slightly masochistically you've enjoyed it. I'd like to thank my chaplain, Martin Bremner, who's round the corner there. Martin was, he's a bit of an odyssey. He was a civil servant, then he was a lay reader, he was clerk to a parish council, then he was ordained. I've known him for a very long time. Thank you for being my chaplain, Martin. I've just got a couple more thank yous. The lads at home, John Machin and Oliver Sherwin, who during this year have been covering the gaps left by me in the farming. I'm not sure whether they're looking forward or dreading me going back again, being there full time. And of course, the most important people, the electorate of both Grimthorpe Rural and Stamford Rural, who, without their support, I wouldn't have been here for 20 years. It's all very easy in this chamber to forget about the people who put us here, but you do that at your peril. I had 2 chairman's charities, and I'd like to thank the Finance, Audit and Risk Management Social Committee through their monthly dress down days. These were organised by Alex Cleland. They've contributed very substantially to the chairman's charities, which raised in all £1,750 in the last year. During the past year, did 78 civic engagements, all within the county, bar one. May not sound a lot, but I think I've spent a lot of time on the roads of Lincolnshire. Some of them I can compliment the highways on, some of them are a bit more ropey. I can say that it's actually been an honour and a privilege to serve as chairman of this council. But at times I cannot honestly say that it's been a pleasure. It has been a difficult year. I think Rosemary would agree with me when at times it has been very difficult. It is an onerous task. Between the beginning of September and Christmas, we had one weekend where there wasn't an engagement. And it fair ran me into the ground because I didn't have time to recharge my batteries. And if you don't take some time off to recharge your batteries, sooner or later your battery just goes flat. One of the highlights of the year was when we were at the reception at Cranwell. The group we were in was being hosted by a reserve officer. He had been in the RAF, so had his wife. He came from Brighton, she came from Scotland. When they both came out of the RAF, they said, "Where are we going to live?" So they both put down a 1, 2, 3 of where they were going to live. And when they turned the piece of paper over, Lincolnshire was at the top of both lists. They had been here, they liked the county, they liked the people, they liked the countryside. In some ways, Lincolnshire is an undiscovered county. We, as well, or not we, the council and the members here, at sometimes probably aren't good enough at telling people how good this county and this council is. As Martin Hill said, I did 10 years as Chief Whip. During that time, one of the highlights of it actually came from Councillor Robert Parker. I think he was meaning it as an insult. We were in here at a call-in, and Councillor Edward Bliss was in the chair for that. And partway through the meeting, Councillor Parker got up and congratulated me on the way I was running the meeting, although I sat somewhere over there. Thank you, Robert. I'm not quite sure how it was meant, but I'll take it as a compliment. I did do 10 years as Chief Whip. Then I became Vice Chairman and Chairman. I thought 10 years, for me, was about the right time to do, and I was looking for something different. Penultimately, I'd like to wish you, Andrew, your Vice Chairman, the members of this chamber, LCC, and Lincolnshire in general, I can't wish you wealth, because we all know what the financial situation is. But I wish you all the best. Finally, I've got one last question for a member of this council. Councillor Miss Rosemary Woolley, will you marry me?
Can I think about it? Of course I will.
Now you see why I told you to put on the wall paint.
It's a shame Christine's not here.
Yes.
I'd like to move on to the second item on the agenda, which is the election of the Vice Chairman of the County Council, and I'd like to invite nominations for that position.
Congratulations, Mr Chairman, and yes, I've great pleasure in nominating Councillor Ron Oxby to be Vice Chairman of Council for this year. I've known Ron for over 30 years. We moved into Hainton 30 years ago and met Ron and many people of his extended family as well. In those days, Ron used to run a TV shop, an electrical shop on the high street, and in those days you didn't go out and buy a new TV, you went and got a bit to repair it or your vacuum cleaner, and he was the stalwart of our village. He would repair anything. So, as I say, I've known him a long time. I know that he will do an excellent job. He is really community focused, loves meeting people and gets on very well. So I know going around the county he will genuinely be a real asset to us as a council going and representing Lincolnshire County Council wherever, and I know he will be a help to you, Andrew, as well. So really delighted to do this. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder for that nomination?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I'm delighted to support Councillor Ron Oxby as Vice Chairman. I know he'll do an excellent job and he'll be a great support to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we? Then we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? I'd like to invite our newly elected Vice Chairman to give a few words.
Thank you very much. Nominees and all those who have supported. Oh, sorry. Got it wrong already. Got it wrong already. I'd like to thank Trish Bradwell for her kind words. It's quite remarkable that in that it takes me back a few years when I had my business in Hainton. I also covered the villages around as well, so I have in the past few weeks in my new division met some of my old customers who still remember me, hopefully for all the good things. But again, thank you for all your nominations. I look forward to working with Councillor Andrew Hayes during his term of office and as Chairman of Lincolnshire County Council. And I'm going to give him a bit of advice that I had when I took office of Chairman at North Kesteven. And one councillor stood up and said, "Congratulations, Ron. The only advice I'm going to give to you is enjoy it." And that's the advice I'm going to give to Andrew. Enjoy it. It was a privilege for me then, and I know it will be a privilege to Andrew. Thank you very much indeed.
Right, we'll move on with the remainder. We'll go on to item number 3 on the agenda, apologies for absence.
Chairman, apologies for absence have been received from Councillor Mrs Christine Talbot.
Before we go any further, I'd like to draw all members
New Rail Chairman, and I would like to give apologies for Councillor Julie Keeley today. Thank you.
No more apologies. I'd like to draw members' attention to the IT guidance on the front of the order of proceedings, and I'm sure I'm probably messing it up more than most of you will do, certainly for the rest of the day. Please, as Trolley said, that if you wish to speak, please press the large bar on the front of the machine, and it doesn't need switching on again. Thank you. We'll move on to declarations of councillors' interests. Any councillors wishing to are reminded that there's no need to declare an interest as it has already been recorded on the register of disclosable interests. However, councillors declaring interests must state that the DPI is and accordingly not to speak or vote on the item. Those who haven't yet completed their DPI form are reminded that this is required within 28 days of taking office. In the future, should you have any queries about declarations, please seek advice from officers in advance of the meeting. We'll move on to item number 5, minutes of the meeting for the County Council held on the 24th of February 2017. That the minutes of the meeting of the County Council held on the 24th of February be approved as a correct record and signed by the Chairman. All those in favour? Again? Sign those at the end of the meeting. Item 6, appointment of returning officer for by-elections 2017 to 2021. A report by the Executive Director responsible for democratic services has been circulated. Councillor Martin Hill to move.
Thank you. I duly move, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any against? Any? Item number 7, Lincolnshire County Council election, return of persons elected 4th of May 2017. A report by the Executive Director responsible for democratic services has been circulated. That the return of persons elected to the Lincolnshire County Council elections on the 4th of May 2017 as set out in Appendix A to the report be noted. Moving on to item 8, Chairman to signify the appointment of Chairman's Chaplain. I'm afraid at this time, because I've been on holiday and only come back, I've yet to confirm that, so that name will follow in due course. Item number 9, Chairman's announcements. I'd like to welcome all newly elected county councillors to the Chamber today and congratulate you all and the councillors that were re-elected on your success. 133rd Lincolnshire Show. Will members of the Council please note that this year's Lincolnshire Show will be held at the Lincolnshire Showground on Wednesday the 21st and Thursday the 22nd of June. It is hoped that as many members of the Council as possible will be able to attend. All members will have received an email from the Civic Office inviting them to take part in Meet Your Councillor. which gives members of the public the opportunity to meet and talk to their local member. The marquee for this will be located at the front of the County Council stand. May I remind members that entrance tickets for the Lincolnshire show will only be issued to those members taking part in these sessions. A list of civic engagements relating to the immediate past chairman and vice chairman are listed and available from the Civic Office. We'll move on to item number 10, to elect the leader of the County Council. A report has been circulated. May I please have nominations for the leader of the Council?
Yes, Mr Chairman. It gives me great pleasure to nominate Councillor Hill to continue as the leader of the Council. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder?
I am delighted to second my colleague Councillor Hill as leader of the County Council.
Can I have a show of hands of all those in favour? Were you thinking of abstaining, Councillor Hill? Thank you very much. We will accept. What do we? Move on to. Sorry, Mark.
Indulgence, Chairman, I'll just say a few words. We'll just thank very much for fellow councillors for supporting me yet again as leader of this council. It is an honour and a great privilege to actually continue to do that role. And my promise to you is that I will continue to do that to the best of my ability. I will try to be as fair as possible, as open as possible, and try and engender a culture here which we usually have had over my tenure as leader, but not always, unfortunately, where there is a culture where we are respectful to each other, but most importantly, we actually come to the council for all the stuff we have to do here, and it is an enjoyable experience, and members of this council go away feeling that they are happy, and also they are contributing to the life and work of not just this council, of course, but the whole county. I think we need to remember that we've just been elected to a very, very important job to represent over 1 million residents of the council, and indeed those people who visit us. We are responsible for a £750 million budget, approximately, and probably 4,500 staff, and probably just as many staff who do things through contractors on our behalf. And I think we also need to remember, all of us who've been re-elected, and I welcome the half of us who are newly elected, although as Martin Trollope-Bellew said, some of us, I think 4, have returned from before. I think we all need to, in the back of our minds, not just remember what our electors have told us while we stood for election, but we have a very, very important role here. When you think about it, we are responsible for making sure that the people of this county are kept safe and well. And if you think of all the things that could go wrong, we have to make sure if there's a fire in the house, that the fire is put out properly. We need to make sure that people are able to travel around this county safely as possible. We need to make sure if there are problems with policing, problems with child protection, problems with vulnerable adults, it's our responsibility to make sure that the people we employ deliver those services safely and properly. And we know in other areas and other councils, when it goes wrong, it can be very tragic and terrible for all those concerned. And then I think we're watching that programme this week about where things went wrong in other councils because the council wasn't doing its job properly, frankly. So all I'll say to fellow members, I will do my best for you, but we all need to remember that we have a big job to do to make sure that everybody in this county is kept safe as possible, and we do that well. I think the good news, being non-political, that does happen a lot. Things sometimes do go wrong, but I think we need to minimise that. So I very much look forward to working on your behalf, and I know I'll have your support needed if that is the opposition who are giving some quality opposition, shall I put it. So thank you very much. Thank
you, Councillor Hill. We'll move on to item number 11, the leader to report on executive portfolios and appointments to the executive and appointment of the executive support councillors.
Thank you, Chairman. The list has been circulated, and in simple terms, I'm continuing with an executive of 8 members, including myself. The one change is that Councillor Eddie Pole, of course, who was previous deputy leader here, and I think on the executive for 8 years. I think, Eddie, was that right? He has come back on to the council. There has been some minor changing round of the roles, and I think one role particularly that I want Councillor Pole to take on is looking at the commercial opportunities that this council could probably look at in terms of making sure that we are financially viable in the future, because obviously we all know that the income we get, particularly from government, is going to decline. So I think that's probably one area where we have been a little bit behind the pace, I think is fair to say. So indeed, I think I'm looking forward to Eddie in his inimitable way actually leading that process. The rest of the cabinet remain as they are, but I said there have been some changes, and obviously the list of support councillors to the executives are all listed there as well. I won't read them all out, but that is what I'm proposing, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Right, we'll move on to item number 12, changes to the Constitution.
Thank you, Chairman. These have been circulated in the report, and it's the continuing changes to the Constitution plus separating out of certain committees to allow them to function with reasonable workloads and allowing more councillors access. I'd like to draw your attention to number 3, please, point number 3 on page 5 of your schedule, where we are talking about part 2 of the Constitution, the bottom line of the paragraph, attached at either Appendix C or Appendix D. We are recommending that Appendix C is the one that we accept today, please. So that is what I am putting forward, and that can be found on page 81 of the report. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. Do we have a seconder for that? We move to the vote. Can I have a show of hands of all those in favour? Sorry, Councillor.
Thank you. It's fine, I know. Just wanted to say that I welcome the changes to scrutiny, and I know that many of our councillors have worked really hard on getting a nice, neat, clear structure that will work constructively for our residents. So thank you for all of that work, and I'm pleased to support it today.
Show of hands of all those in favour. Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? Then that motion is carried. We'll move on to agenda item 13, the political balance on committees and subcommittees and the allocation of places to political groups.
Chairman, a legal requirement, and obviously the group leaders have met to actually try and balance out the committee places to fulfil the legislation. So it is circulated at the back of the order of proceedings.
Second.
We'll move to the vote. Those in favour? Those against? Any abstentions? Then that motion is carried. Move on to item 14, the appointment of chairman and vice chairman of committees and subcommittees, with the exception of Health and Wellbeing Board, the Health Scrutiny Committee for Lincolnshire and the Bourne Town Trust Management Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. These again are circulated on Schedule 4, apart from the committees which choose their own chairman. and obviously the Chief Whip and the group leaders are circulated as well. So I move those as well, please.
Right, we'll move to the vote. Sorry, it needs to be seconded.
I'd like to second that, Mr. Chairman.
I'm trying to move too quickly.
I know.
We'll now move to the vote. Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Then that is carried. Agenda item 15, the appointment to outside bodies.
Again, Chairman, these have been circulated, and these, to remind members, these are merely the outside bodies which the this council has appoints by legislation, and some of them are also politically balanced. There are many other outside bodies which, in the next few weeks, we will, via group leaders, be allocating to members. But that will be in the gift of myself, the executive, or portfolio holders. But we will have a conversation with members from across the chamber about where those positions are allocated. So this morning, it's just about these that are listed in the order of proceedings.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Do I have a seconder for that?
Seconded, Chairman.
Thank you. We'll move on to the vote. Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Then that is carried. We'll move on to the calendar of meeting dates for 2017-2018. Please note that an extra council meeting has been scheduled for Wednesday the 12th of July at 10:30.
Again, Chairman, move as circulated.
Seconder? We'll move again to the vote. Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Then that is carried. Item 17, the recommendations for independent remuneration panel.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, because there are two new scrutiny panels, effectively, this is an interim arrangement where the allowance has been the remuneration for the Chairman and Vice Chairman of those two committees have been agreed informally with the remuneration panel. So I would move that. The actual remuneration panel will meet in next year in force to actually have its every 4 years they come and advise us what the remuneration be. But this is just about these two new committees and the suggested allowance that should be attached to the Chairman and Vice Chairman. So again, that is the proposal.
Before I move to do I have a seconder?
I'll formally second, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Brewis. We'll move those in favour of the vote. Those in favour? Those against? Any abstentions? Then that is carried. Move on to agenda item 18, Monitoring Officers Annual Report for 2016-17. Councillor Mrs Rawlings, do you wish to move this?
Thank you, Mr Chairman. Yes, I would like to move the recommendation, please. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder?
Seconded, Chairman.
Thank you. We'll move to the vote. Those in favour? Those against? Any abstentions? And that is carried as well. Item 19, the financial update for 2017-2018. Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chairman. This again is a necessary item we have to agree today. For those members who are new to the Council, this is effectively after the Chancellor's budget back in the spring. Subsequently, the Government decided to allocate extra money to 200 billion, I think was the figure, I can't remember. Effectively, though, this council received an additional 15 million this year, 7 million for next financial year, and 3 million following that. So I think that was due very much to the lobbying done by both this council and local government in general. So we are now legally required to issue a return to the government to confirm that this £15 million will be given to adult social care or and health, and indeed there is the Director of Finance will have to return a form telling the government in broad terms where that money will be spent in agreement with our health colleagues. So this has to be done by the 1st of June, I believe. So again, this is just confirming that we will do that and delegating to the Director the final details of what we've done in consultation with the portfolio for finance, who is me. Thank you, Chairman.
Do I have a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Marianne Overton.
Thank you. I would also like to pay tribute to all of the people who've been involved in lobbying for that extra funding, because I know it was extremely difficult, and the budget nationally obviously was extremely tight also, and so it is a great tribute to all involved that I think that this the right solution here has been achieved. It isn't going to be enough in the longer run, and we are going to need to continue to work on that, because it's going to be very important to have adult care adequately funded to make sure that our residents can live a decent life. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Robert Palmer.
I think we all realise the issues facing Lincolnshire and other councils when it comes to adult social care, and this money is seriously welcomed. At the same time as making sure that we spend it in the right way, that process should be overseen by effective scrutiny. And I can't help but feel there's an early opportunity during this next municipal year for us to be looking through the scrutiny arrangements as to how the money is A, going to be planned to be spent, B, whether it is spent in that way, and C, how effective it is in its outcome. So as well as the money coming in, I think there's an active role for councillors on this council to be engaged in adult social care in the scrutiny role. So I look forward to that being a major theme during the coming year.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Eddie Pole.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I didn't really want to speak on this. I wanted to speak about 10 minutes ago, but things only just started to work, so... So, I'm not going to waste the opportunity, believe me. First, I'd like to say I'm very pleased to be back, and I'd like to thank the leader for his support in giving me a job to do. I have to say, when Martin approached me and said, I'd like you to deal with waste, I thought, oh, Christ, 4 years away and I've gone from deputy leader to rubbish. So, but it's jolly nice to be here. I'll do my best. And to my colleagues sat opposite, I'm slightly saddened to see there's so few of you, but I'm also glad to see that you're all in apparently robust good health. So I look forward to meetings being as short as this in the future, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Patricia Bradwell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to respond to Councillor Parker, every intention of taking regular reports to adult scrutiny, and also actually probably we will feed into Health and Wellbeing Board as well, because some of this money will be going to help hospital discharge, so building up those teams in the community as well. So I think it's quite right, we've got this money, and it's quite right that the people of Lincolnshire know where it's going. So, you know, through scrutiny, we will do that. But obviously, you know, working with our health colleagues, we want to make things better for the people of Lincolnshire. So, you know, really, really committed. This is additional money, and we need to spend it in the right way and see residents benefiting from that.
Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? Thank you. Right, that concludes today's meeting. I'd like to remind members to collect their post from their pigeonholes after the meeting, and please do not remove the smart cards from the microphone units. Thank you very much.